Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining me for my first video tutorial. I'm going to show you how to make the little roses out of cardstock using Stampin' Up's Extra Large Fancy Flower Punch. Move this out of the way, and I'm going to start by laying down just a vinyl placemat over my paper pad here so that I don't get it wet. And you start off with 3 flowers that you've punched out of your cardstock. I'm using Melon Mambo cardstock for this. And I'm just going to spritz the flowers with some water on both sides. This helps to soften up the cardstock so when you squish it all up, it'll wrinkle really nicely and it won't have a tendency to tear. Once you have that done, I'm just going to take them and place one in my hand, poke it in the middle to help get it going here, and then you just scrunch it. I like to make sure that I have scrunched every petal and at least folded the petal part backwards and scrunched it some. Make sure you do that to all of them because it'll really give it a realistic look. And I just set that aside and do the next one. Same thing, scrunch them all down really well. Set them aside. And do the last one, mop up some of the water here. Some of the color will bleed off onto your hands or your work surface. That's why I'm using a vinyl placemat for this. Okay, then I'm going to take my piercing pad, put my old mat down, my old piercing pad. I'm going to have a paper piercer. I'm going to open up the first one. Just kind of, you don't have to really flatten it out, but just kind of straighten it out a little bit. And then the second one, which I will set right on top of it, offsetting the petals. And the third one, same thing, open it up carefully. You don't want to tear anything. And again, offset the petals. This one actually matches up with the first layer. Then take your paper piercing tool and just give it a poke in the middle. Drill a little hole in the center for your brad. I do not recommend using a 1/16 of an inch hole punch for this because the paper is wet, so the fibers are very soft and you may end up tearing the paper. Then I'm just going to put in a little brad. Now of course you can use one of the larger, fancier brads in the center like I did on my sample, but for this I'm just using a small brad. Open up the prongs on the back, then lay it back down. Take your top layer and just kind of squish it back up. Same thing with your second layer, kind of squish it up, fold the petals over a little bit, and then again the third layer. I like to make sure my third layer, the petals are all kind of going backwards a little. And then you just kind of open it up and fluff it out a little bit so it resembles a flower that you might find in nature. I think these look kind of like a wild rose, and they're very pretty when they're finished and super easy to make. Thanks for joining me. Bye.